Hey guys, it's Tellen, and I just wanted to make a quick video about tanks in Torghast. Now, Torghast is going to be our source for Soul Ash, which we'll need to create our legendaries in Shadowlands. Within Torghast, you'll be collecting Phantasma, a currency that will be used to buy extra anima powers when you reach a buy floor, and also through the encounter you'll periodically find anima powers that drop from either mobs or the phylactery jars throughout each floor. Now, the amount of Soul Ash we can obtain is capped weekly, so we won't have to endlessly farm it each week to get ahead. And once we have the legendaries we want and have them upgraded, there'll be less of a reason to go into Torghast. And it's good to know that we don't have to continually enter Torghast, else we'll fall behind on player power and that there is an end in sight. But the fact remains that if we want legendaries, we are going to have to run Torghast at some point. So the big question then, how is it running Torghast as a tank? Is it fun? Do I need to switch specs to a DPS class to have a better run? Will it be super slow and boring if I stay tank spec? And the short answer to all of that, yeah, it's fun. And no, you don't have to change specs if you don't want to. I was able to run through Torghast on a few different tank classes, and although some specs were a little more fun than others, I have to say I enjoy Torghast a lot, and here's why. I think a lot of people have a blast when you can switch into a mode that makes you super powerful and almost a godlike mode. Cheat codes can be fun in a game. You don't want them to be everywhere in the game, but when you have a chance to power up and become incredibly strong for a time in a separate area of the game, it is refreshing and it's an enjoyable form of content. For me, this is Torghast. You can always run this solo as a tank. It is also incredibly fun to run it with a group. I've had some of the most fun I've ever had in WoW running through Torghast with my friends, seeing who can become the most OP, smashing things with insanely buff skills as we laugh our heads off the entire way. As a tank running solo, the first few wings won't pose much of a threat at all, so you can really focus on gaining anima powers that buff your damage. And as you enter higher level wings, you may want to focus on gaining some anima powers that increase your health and defense, but honestly, it's just more fun blowing things up with anima powers that increase your damage. When I ran through Torghast this past week, I created pre-mades with eye level 150 on the beta and moved through them with relative ease. It was great working towards a build that synergized with each other. For instance, on a paladin, you can focus on buffing your Hammer of Wrath with an anima power that increases his damage by 60% for every one of these powers you find. And another that gives Hammer of Wrath 3 charges. Couple that with an anima power that gives you a 20% increased damage when you have Forbearance. And a normal 1.6k crit of Hammer of Wrath turned into a 20k crit at the end. Or for warriors, you can increase the damage and healing of Thunderclap, increase the damage of Revenge for every phylactery jar you smash, and give Ignore Pain a chance to cast Shield Wall with making you extra tanky. Now you can look up all the anima powers on Wellhead or just run through Torghast and find what works as you travel through. But there are some builds to work towards, and so I hope you have fun playing around with them and showing off how overpowered you can become. I will say that some of the anima powers seemed a little gimmicky or made things more difficult if you chose them. The main offender of this is the Warrior anima power that randomly casts Rampage or Blade Storm when you cast Avatar. And when you use Avatar on cooldown, it feels bad to then just randomly lose control of your player. The times I ended up testing it and using it, I was fine, but I imagine in higher floors and layers, this will just get you killed. There are also some anima powers that give you increased damage at the cost of not being able to jump or walk backwards, and they just tended to be more of an annoyance for me, and I just opted to not choose them. Just a couple of tips as we finish off this video. As I said earlier, in the first few wings, I wouldn't worry too much about survivability unless your eye level is really low. Just go for that uber OP build and see how much damage you can do. Now, as you begin to tackle higher and higher level wings, and even as you start a wing fresh with no anima powers, maybe don't pull the whole room until you have gained a few powers. Some runs do end up being a little lackluster as the anima powers you receive are random and you end up getting a bunch of boring anima powers. Well, more often than not, it was a great experience for me. Also, since you can only get a set amount of Soul Ash each week, right when you hit 60, don't go straight into Torghast if you have time to do it later. Go get some gear from dungeons or other sources to give yourself the best chance to clearing it all. I think that Torghast is going to be a fun option in Shadowlands to just kick back and enjoy your class, as most of you are not going to be looking to craft every legendary, making Torghast less of a have to and more of a get to during the expansion. I look forward to running Torghast, and I hope you do too. So tanks, enjoy and go wreck Torghast in Shadowlands. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them below or come hang out on Twitch at twitchtv.tellenx. It's always great to see and meet everyone, so come by and say hello. I stream every Tuesday and Thursday morning and Friday nights, mostly running Mythic Plus carries for the community, and when Shadowlands launches, I'll be around a lot more. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to this channel to be notified when the next video goes live. But until then, thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon.